I'm Gary C. Johnson. I developed a method of representing my clients called Judo Law. Using Judo Law, our team set the record for the largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. No other law firm has even come close. We've had several multi-million-dollar verdicts since then, and guess what? Now, most of our cases settle. If you've been hurt and you need money fast, give us a call, pound hurt.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson drives for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson. Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply the Law. I'm Keith Casebold, and what an honor it is to have you with us, and what an honor it is to say hello to my friend, Gary C. Johnson.
Wonderful to be here. How you folks doing? Okay, come on. Let's do good, huh? For at least the next 30 minutes, let's be happy. Okay, we can handle that? Uh-oh, what about that one that's pouting? Think we can get him out of it? Can you think, my friend, can you get your buddy here to give us a little bitty smile? Huh? Just a little bitty.
You know, my friend,
come on.
That quarantine took a lot out of all of us. I knew that when the wife said, "Don't you have somewhere to go?" And I was like, I'll find some place. But I don't know that we realized being together as much as we've been in the last 2 or 3 months, what kind of toll that took on us. We needed all of your words of wisdom on the 24-hour rule and not being in an argument and all of that. Because
don't criticize, condemn, and complain.
Oh.
Don't take anything personal. Don't make any assumptions, right? You're impeccable with the word. All of those things.
Yeah.
Go out the door, right? All you want to do is and it means nothing. One thing I want you to think of when you're ready to go to this, I want you to sit back and think, what if this is the last day I would ever see this person in my life, period. Now, as I've said before, if you're saying, oh my God, wouldn't that be wonderful? You might want to change what you're doing. But if you can think of all the things that that person does for you, all the wonderful good things, you won't feel so bad. You'll get over your pouting pretty quick. And since it popped in my head, there is definitely somebody watching this program right now that's pouting, and it's probably because of an imagined slight rather than a real one. And they're saying, you're wrong, Gary, it was a real slight. Even if it was a real slight, so what? In the scheme of things, what's it matter? 50 million years from now, when the earth is a ball of ice, you think you're going to care about that slight? How about 6 months from now, you think you're going to care about it? How about tomorrow?
But you know what gets me about that? Last week you did the whole thing on Proverbs about words. Why are those words so powerful? I mean, why do we hold on to those and we keep a grudge for 20 years because somebody said something about our cooking or they didn't?
Why do you think I harp on that 24-hour rule every single program? I'm trying my best, my friends, to keep you out of trouble.
Yeah.
If you'll just obey that one rule, it is amazing how much more happiness you can have in life. And you'll stay out of trouble. And who wants to be in trouble? Trouble's no fun. Feeling good's fun. Being happy's fun. Smiling is fun. Good stuff, right? So my friends, those of you that may not have cracked a smile for me yet, I'd tell you a joke if I could think of one to make that would maybe liven it up a bit and get a little something out of you to bring you back to life. But come on, life's worth living. It is. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful place. what do we want to talk about tonight? I think I may talk to you a little bit about some stuff that you may not know, I hope. If you do know it, bear with me. At the end of the program, I'm going to talk to you about this little book of thoughts, words of wisdom that may be of some benefit to my friends.
I have one thing I would like for you to share, if you would, briefly. You talked on our radio program this week about appreciation, sincere appreciation, and how coming out of this virus, and when all of this happened, you told me right up front, you said, Keith, this is horrible. It is horrible, horrible, but out of this will come good things. We will see good things, and Gary, you're starting to see it. I think we all are, that our friends, our people out there are having a much bigger and deeper appreciation for those around us that are doing the service work in our communities.
What got me started on that on the radio program was I was at the grocery store, which is Food City. I guess it's Sunday. And always when I check out, the people that are putting my groceries in the cart for me and checking me out, I look at them and I say to them from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here working and doing this job so that I can get my groceries and get them quickly. Thank you. I go outside and I hear someone say Gary, because evidently the fellow doing the bagging recognized me. And it's a fellow by the name of Joey Newcomb. And Joey came up to me and he said, thank you, Gary, for saying what you said, because it was obvious it was from the heart. He said, people say things to us, but we don't know whether it's from the heart or not. But he says, they're listening to your program because we will have at least 100 people a day say to us now, thank you for being here. So if you're not saying that to people, cashiers, anyone that does anything for you, please give them a sincere, honest thank you for risking their life, for being there so that you can have the benefit of what they're doing. It's bigger than the wages they're getting, because their wages probably aren't all that much. But knowing that the people they're serving and taking care of appreciate it is a big deal.
You pointed out on the radio program, you said, Keith, all along we knew that our nurses were angels, that our doctors were heroes, that our first responders were all heroes, but until this come along, we didn't think of our service industry in that same light. And now, those people who are bagging the groceries, who are checking you out, who are the waitress or the waiter, or they're providing services, as you pointed out, picking up the garbage. All of these people have earned a new sense of appreciation from all of us for those services.
Years ago, Keith asked me a simple question. He said, who's the most important person in your life? And I quickly answered, my garbage man. He picks my garbage up.
This is a true story. This had to be like 16 or 17 years ago, and I was trying to get some wisdom from Gary, and I said, the most important person in your life, who is it? And he said, the guy that picks up the garbage. He comes twice a week, he's never late, he gets it, no garbage is left, and he said, it's like a miracle. I put it out, it's gone, and I love this guy. And and I understand why, because if we didn't have that service, we would be in a world of hurt.
Just imagine if you didn't have the garbage guy picking it up, where we'd be. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about some stuff on the computer.
It is good to be with you. Thank you so much for taking this time to tune into the program. Gary and I appreciate it. We'll be back with Simply the Law right after this.
People are asking, what is Judo Law? Judo is a martial art that uses the opponent's strength to defeat them by not opposing it directly. Gary C. Johnson created a method of practicing law based upon that principle. It worked so well, he named it Judo Law. To see the results, go to GaryCJohnson.com. To have Gary and his team of judo lawyers go to work for you, dial #HURT. This is an advertisement.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. You know, Gary, I can never look at things the same way after you've pointed this out. Over the Easter holiday, we had some power outages with some high winds. You call the power company, it's 10:30 at night, it's raining, the wind's blowing, out come the men The women, they're out there in their trucks, it's pouring the rain, and they're out there just like that, trying to get your power restored. You pick up the phone, you call for an ambulance, you call for the fire truck, you call for a policeman. These people are out there at your tip of your finger, just making a phone call.
And we take it for granted. Don't do it anymore. Show honest appreciation anytime you see those folks. They deserve it more than you will ever know. And just a few words, again, words of appreciation can make all the difference in the world to someone that's busting their rear to try to do something that you're going to get the benefit of. Let's go computer. I want to talk to you folks about some stuff. There's the 800 number. If you want to give us a call for any reason, we're in Lexington. There's our office, Executive Drive. GaryCJohnson.com if you want to find out more about my law firm. In general, my friends, please make sure you have your underinsurance that protects you and your family. Very, very important. Every program that I've done for the last probably 20 years, I've said that on that program. And I'll say it as long as I do this program. On every single program, it's that important. Okay, let's talk about juries for just a second and trials, because this is something that probably most of you will never in your life have any contact with one way or the other, unless maybe you're called for jury duty. How does it work? What does a jury do? What is a verdict? What's a judgment? What's all of those words mean? Well, when a jury goes into a courtroom and tries a case, they are the authority that the people that's been harmed are making a report to. There's no other place for someone that's hurt through someone else's negligence, or some corporation has sold a bad drug, or there's a defective car. There's no other place to make a report to any authority as to what happened and how bad a person's hurt other than to an American jury. Think about that. Now, the people that make the reports for these people are called plaintiff's lawyers. You know those 1-800-SUE-'em, those scumbags that everybody, all the propaganda is they're worthless, they serve no purpose for society. Well, guess what? They may not serve any purpose for society, but they're the only people that will file a report to the authorities on behalf of people that's been injured. Nobody else will do it. A defense lawyer won't do it. A real estate lawyer won't do it, right? A divorce lawyer won't do it. It's the lawyers that practice personal injury law. They are the attorneys, they are the people that these people have to go to make the report. Now, how does the person feel when they go to ask them to make a report to the jury? Because you make the report by filing a lawsuit to get to the jury, right? They feel awful. Every single one of you would dread going to a lawyer's office, especially a plaintiff's lawyer, and you would not go unless you feel like you had to.
That was the question I was going to ask you. Why in the first place do you have to go to the attorney whenever it's, clear cut that it was the other party's fault? There's insurance. Why don't they just come in and pay you and do the right thing?
Because that's not how the system works. If insurance companies will go to these people and say, okay, you've got all of these injuries, we've got this nice, handsome insurance policy here, we want to pay you, we'd be out of business. There'd be no reason to go to a plaintiff's lawyer to make a report, right? I'd love to be put out of business that way, because that means everybody would be taken care of. But guess what? Reality is reality. It's not going to happen. The insurance companies will pay a claim when they're forced to pay the claim, period. That's just the way it is. The people that force the insurance companies to pay the claim is not us. It's not us plaintiffs' lawyers. It's a jury. Local people in the community. They're the ones that forces a claim to be paid. And because they're there to force the claim to be paid, and that this individual has access to that jury, most cases settle because of that. Now, what if people had no access to that jury? Do you think the insurance companies would pay if there was zero authority for this person to make a report to? I want you to think. Now think with me, friends, because this is important. If you did not have the jury for these people to make a report to and ask for justice, what would happen? There would be no justice if there's no place to make a report. And the only place a report can be made to is through a plaintiff's lawyer such as myself, filing a lawsuit and asking for a jury trial. And when you ask for that jury trial, believe it or not, it is amazing how many cases settle. It's just that simple.
Gary, I mean, you're asking us to think, and I'm sitting here saying, how do we fall into this propaganda of people coming out and saying, oh, they're runaway juries, they're doing all these frivolous lawsuits, they're doing all these verdicts that are wrong. Why sign this waiver and do an arbitration, and that way you don't have to pay the attorney. Everything will be taken care of, everything will be good. And I know good people, smart people, who say, I think they're telling me the truth. And I'm saying, you never want to be in that situation. You don't want to give up those 12 men and women who are your neighbors that will listen to the facts and make the decision.
It is exactly the fox asking to be allowed to guard the henhouse. When you say, let's take away the jury and let arbitration or let some other judge or somebody decide, at that point in time, the system can be worked. You can't work a jury system. People get $12.50 a day or whatever to be on the jury. They got no dogs in no fight whatsoever other than to want to do the right thing. And they will. They'll always do the right thing, a jury does. Always. And that's why insurers are so afraid of juries. And that's why they would love to get rid of them. Let's take a break and come back, and I got some more stuff I want to talk to my friends about.
He said a key point right there as he was closing out. The insurance companies are afraid of juries because they know it's going to cost them. And I think that says everything we need to know about that subject, but we're going to talk more about it if you'll stay with us. Simply the Law and Gary C. Johnson coming back right after this. Eastern Kentucky, Southern West Virginia, and Southwest Virginia. It can be a tough territory to reach when it comes to marketing. We can help. We can also help you find your identification. And we have plenty of services to do it and a lot of experience behind us, over 37 years. In fact, we've either booked or sold nearly $70 million in advertising in this region. You need a new voice, a new idea, a new concept? Casebolt Marketing. We're ready to go to work for you today. Our motto is nothing happens until you make it happen. So let's get started today. Welcome back into Simply the Law. We went out of that break talking about the jury and the arbitration. How many times have you had people call you or come to you? Because I know of a couple with people I've been with that have said, I thought I could get this taken care of, and man, they're messing over me. Gary, I need your help. And you look at them and say, did you sign an arbitration? And they go, well, yeah. And you have to tell them, I'm sorry, I'm probably not going to be able to help you.
That's true. That's the way it is. Take away the jury, you take away the chance of any hope of getting justice. It's that simple. Let's talk a little bit more about the system and how it works. When a jury is impaneled and they're sworn to take the oath, the jury's role is to, number one, determine who's at fault. Generally, that's fairly simple because most people ain't going to file a lawsuit unless they're pretty sure they're going to win on the fault part of it. And the real fight then comes to the damages. What is the role of a jury when it comes to damages? Well, juries appraise damages. Now, let's say that a person has just arbitrarily $100,000 in medical bills, and a jury is asked how much medical bills do they have. What a jury is supposed to do is put down the amount of medical bills that the proof and evidence show. Well, you go back to the jury room and you say, well, they had $100,000 in medical, but they probably had insurance, and they probably didn't pay that $100,000. And therefore, why should we put down here that their damages is $100,000 in medical when we can pretty well assume they might have had insurance? So why should we put that on that jury form? Well, let me tell you why. The insurance company that paid it gets their money back first from any verdict. They get paid back. Every dime they paid out, they get first dibs. If it's a workers' comp, whatever, they got what's called subrogation. If it's Medicare or if it's Medicaid, they get their money back. And if a jury doesn't find the damages of $100,000, then the person, on whatever pain and suffering or other things that they get, are still going to end up having to pay back that insurance company for their medical bills. So that's why a jury isn't given any other information other than the amount of the bills. Because the court will then take that and determine how much goes into a final judgment. But the judge, I'm hoping I make some sense to you, because the verdict of a jury is not a judgment. The court adjusts that. Number one, person gets $100,000 in medical, automatically $10,000 is taken off of that for the no fault before a judgment is ever entered. So a judgment would never be entered for over $90,000. But that's not for the jury to have to worry about. Now, if a jury said, okay, we know they would have had $10,000 in PIP, so we're only going to put $90,000 down, well, what would happen is the judgment would be $80,000 then, because the $10,000 is going to come off by the court. Therefore, the jury is only to determine the gross amount that the person gets is damaged, and then the judge makes the adjustments to make it fair before a judgment is ever entered. Am I making any sense, Keith?
You are, but you know, the one thing that I'm sitting here thinking that our friends are looking in going, well, the jury's going to take care of everything, but there's a catch to this. There's got to be insurance. If there's not insurance, there's nothing that can be done, right? Most people think, Gary, that there's this pot of gold that if you've been run over or you've been done wrong, that, hey, somebody's going to pay for that. Well, nobody's going to pay if there's not insurance.
I think you can fairly well assume if it's made it to the point to where it is actually in a courtroom, there's insurance. I've been practicing law 50 years almost. I've never had a case go to trial where there wasn't insurance. I never will. If you don't have a way to collect some money, why should you put your client through it? It's always insurance.
And is it always a shock to the client that the insurance company doesn't want to pay out after they've paid years and years and years of premiums without ever having a claim, and then finally they have a claim only to find out they don't want to pay?
I've said years ago, insurance companies have a wonderful business going of collecting premiums. Paying claims is nothing more than a nuisance. They pay claims when they have to. That's business. It's not personal. It's not that the insurance company's out to get you or do mean things to you. It's business. They have shareholders that want their dividends. They got shareholders that they have to be accountable to. And it's business. And it's not good business to pay claims, but it's really good business to collect premiums. Why do you think when you see all of these commercials on TV begging you to let them sell you insurance. You got the little lizard, what is it, a gecko or something? Begging you every time, you're going to save 10% or 15% or whatever. If you'll just let us be the one to sell you insurance, you're in good hands, right? If you'll let us, wow, what a good neighbor we are. Let us sell you insurance. You think they're doing that because they're losing money? Because these plaintiffs' lawyers have put them out of business? Huh. They want the premium. They get the premium. When they have to, they'll pay a claim. It's that simple. When they're looking at a jury, that's why we file every lawsuit that comes in our office. We don't go through a process of trying to settle before we file a lawsuit. I'm not smart enough to make an insurance company pay money until they're looking down the barrel at a jury. I never have been.
You know, I'm listening to you, and I'm also thinking, and I just found this out from a personal experience, it's twofold. They don't want to pay out the claim. The next thing they want to do is hold on to the money as long as they can. The longer they can hold on to the money, they're drawing interest on what should be your money that should be already in your pocket, but they're dragging it out as long as they can before they're going to give it to you.
Especially a large multi-million-dollar case. You rarely ever see one of those settle until it's right in front of a jury. Sometimes it'll settle during the trial because that's a lot of money. And they're going to hang on to it to the bitter end.
And
That's
Gary,
just the way it is.
if you didn't have the jury to hold them accountable, how long would they hold on to it? Forever?
If you don't have a jury, they will never be held accountable. Folks, don't let anybody mess with your jury system. It's the only place you can go to file a report when someone has harmed you. It's the only place you can go to if they've breached a contract with you. Your jury is the thing that keeps us safe and keeps us having an opportunity to balance the books, period, in this country.
You know, we talked last week about heroes and how we should appreciate them. The 12 men and women that are going and giving of their time to serve on that jury, we owe them a big thank you and a hug around the neck, keeping the system alive.
And if you're on jury duty or if you're going to serve on jury duty, be proud. You are the most important person in that person's life that's brought their claim to you. There's nobody in the world more important than you, ever, and never will be, probably. You are important. Take it seriously, listen, and then do what you feel is the right thing to do. Nobody's entitled any more than that, period.
Great information, and I think the biggest information of all is what Gary said. When they ask you to sign the arbitration agreement, it's the fox saying, don't worry about the hen house. We'll take care of it. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for tuning into this program. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.